What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Peak Performance Engineering. I'm Brandon, and today we're working on our Project 1965.0, my 1965 Mustang with the 5-liter EFI swap. But today we're going to be finishing our brake install. So if you watched the last couple episodes, we did a Wilwood 15/16 manual master cylinder install with their proportioning valve. Then we also did a 6-piston front upgrade along with their 12-inch rotors drilled and slotted. And now we're just finishing it up, and we just need to bleed the brakes. The only difference is this time we're going to be using a vacuum brake bleeder, which I've never actually used before, so it'll be my first time as we kind of run through it. But basically with bleeding your brakes, it's usually a pretty simple process as long as you don't have an issue with the little brake bleeder screws breaking off. So if that happens, you're kind of screwed. You'll have to go and repair it. But on the front, obviously we're going to be good. They're brand new. In the rear, I did spray it with some penetrating oil a few days ago, so they've been kind of soaking. They look like they're in good shape. Hopefully that's going to come off pretty easily. But the advantage with this vacuum bleeder is we're going to be able to actually apply a vacuum to the bleeder screw to help it suck through the fluid. So hopefully it's a one-man job. You don't have to be in the car pumping the brakes and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to see how it goes. Usually what happens is you start from the wheel that's farthest from the master cylinder, which for us would be the rear passenger side, and then we kind of work our way to the ones that are closest, ending of course with the driver's side front. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. All right, so as far as vacuum bleeders go, again, this is my first time using one, so I just kind of cruised through Amazon. I ended up finding this one. It had a whole bunch of reviews. I can't remember what it was for cost, maybe 30 bucks, something like that, $30, $40, but I'll put a link below if you want to check it out. But again, it had a lot of good reviews. I mean, this is probably the first time I bled brakes in like 10 years, so it isn't like the tool's going to get a lot of use. I think they do make a heavier duty version, but again, if you're like me and this is just every now and then, I wouldn't spend the extra money. I think it was like double the cost for the heavy duty version, so let's see how it goes. So this whole setup doesn't come with like its own kind of like, nice hard case, but at least it does come with this kind of plastic liner, so I can just put all this crap back in here, and then this little kind of, plastic cover fits back over, so at least it gives you something to kind of put back in your toolbox or in your storage cubby, somewhere. So yeah, let's figure out how this sucker works. So I did actually give the brake a few pumps. I did find a couple leaks. There was like a little bit of a leak here, so I had to tighten those fittings. Same thing on the front, a little bit of a drip, so tighten those. Should be good now. Looks like no leaks from the rear, so that's good. So yeah, I think master cylinder's full. So now we'll have to get back over here in the rear. I don't think I'm gonna take the back tires off. I'm just gonna crawl into the car and try to hook this thing up and see if we can vacuum do it all without having to pull the tires off. All right, so far as I can tell, this is how this setup's gonna work. So I've just got a little short tube going right into the fill, and then the little tube with this little adapter, and then we're gonna try to see if this works. This will fit directly right over top of the bleeder screw, but I did see some YouTube videos where these were leaking and not really holding vacuum. So if that's the case, then guys would just take this piece, the clear tube, and just put that directly over top of it. So we'll try it this way, we'll see. Now, if you also had some kind of weird access issue, the kit does give you another longer tube, so you could put this long tube from here to the gun, but I don't think we're gonna need it. I think this can go right in. That way I can see what's happening with the fluid kind of right here and make adjustments. So we'll give it a shot. All right, guys, so I'm back here on the back brakes. Let's see if it'll focus here. So we've got kind of our little setup. We got our gun down here. I already cracked this loose. I tightened it back, but it's tightened right now. And what we're gonna do is just try to apply some vacuum to this right now. And then I guess I'm gonna crack it. And then I think you just keep pumping it and kind of maintain like, I don't know, 15 inches of helium or whatever for vacuum. And my wife's up here. She's going to watch the fluid reservoir, keep that filled, and then we'll see if it sucks it all out, how well it works. And like I said, if this little adapter deal right here ends up sucking, then we'll just take the tube. Where's my finger? Boom, we'll take this tube and just hook it directly to the bleeder. So pretty, yeah, if this works, this will be awesome. But you still really need 2 people unless you want to keep getting up and making sure your master cylinder is not empty, right? But I guess it's better than before where you needed like 3 people. 1 guy in the car, 1 down here, 1 guy watching the cylinder. So still an improvement, but let's see how it works. All right, so not shortly after pumping, the little adapter 90-degree piece did suck. So I just hooked the tube directly up. That seems to be working. I can get about 10 to 12 inches of vacuum, and then I just let it bleed down, and then I keep pumping it. So the only bad part with this setup is, you know, you're manually pumping this thing about 4,000 times. So you're going to get quite a workout. No need to work out forearms at the gym today. But otherwise, yeah, I think it's working. I just actually dumped this. So this thing was filled up with some old dirty fluid, dumped it. Now we're going to go again. So I was just going to try to show you guys. So the whole time I've just been keeping the bleeder valve open. So we'll see if we can pump her up here. See, sometimes you kind of need like two hands to, but yeah, see, I can hear it leaking a little. So usually I hold it with two hands and it keeps it from going. But yeah, look, we're getting some fluid already and see it bleeding down. So yeah, we're getting usually about 10, just let it bleed down, take a little arm rest and keep it going. So obviously this should be the hardest one, I guess. So hopefully, I guess I'll keep doing it till we get some fluid, and then you know, more stable fluid at least. And then we'll go to the other side, and then this other front one, and then finally the driver one, and then we'll see how our pedal feels. All right, so I just got the rear done. I think it's done. We won't know till later, but basically I emptied out this thing like 2 per side. So basically the first time I emptied this out, you know, it was dark, nasty fluid. The second time it was basically clear. So I still was seeing bubbles like the whole time. So I'm not sure if that's normal, if I need to keep doing it until, you know, like how you would normally see just straight fluid shooting out and you know you're done. But I don't know if it's because it's under vacuum, you're still gonna see the bubbles. I don't know, but I don't know if that was any easier than pumping it, honestly. Like, you know, sure, like saves on your calves, but you know, you're still getting a forearm workout to be able to pump that thing. And you're only ever getting up to like maybe 20 inches of vacuum maximum. So I'm not sure how that relates to like being able to pump up the brakes with your foot. You know, I imagine your foot's gonna apply a lot more, be able to build up a lot more pressure to maybe force all that air and stuff out. But I don't know, let's see. So rear's done. Now we're gonna move on to the front, which should be a lot easier because the wheels are already off the front. So it should be pretty simple. So I'll start over here on this passenger side, and then I don't even need my wife anymore. Now I can just kind of be able to watch the fluid level pretty easily and make some adjustments. So, all right, let's get this knocked out, and then we'll kind of see how our pedal's feeling. All right, guys, so we're moving on to the front. Now the front on these Wilwoods does have a smaller diameter like bleeder nipple. So they do give you an adapter in the kit to go from this larger tube down to a little section of smaller tubes. So once I put that on, it seems to work fine. The Wilwood setup also, you know, the bleeder screw is right on top of the caliper. There is a bottom one, a bottom bleeder, but you don't need that. So you only are ever going to use the top one when you do this. So I've already got some fluid coming out, and just to kind of show you guys how this works. So you can see we get up only to, you can get up just maybe closer to 20, and that's about it. Usually 15, and just let it kind of roll out. And you can see all the bubbles that are coming out. So I'm probably going to just fill this up, dump it just once probably, and then we'll move on to the other side, because these are a lot shorter runs of tubing versus the back. And this is already looking pretty clear, obviously, because it's all brand new. So let's see what we can get. All right, so we just got done doing this. My wife just popped in, said, "What up?" Anyway, she tried the brake pedal. It sucks. I verified too. It still just goes right to the floor. Sucks. So basically wasted probably at least an hour just screwing around with this stupid vacuum pump. So F that. I'm gonna get it back under here. We're just gonna have her sit in the car. I'm just gonna pump it, and we'll just do it the old school way. So hopefully we got, you know, hopefully we got most of it out, but the way that pedal feels, it really seems like it sucks. So we're gonna do it old school, and then I'll come back and we'll see if it fixes it. All right, so in Mity Vac's defense, we did start to bleed that black back brake old school style, and it seemed to be going well. And then all of a sudden, boom, we noticed a big leak coming from where this 10 PSI residual valve is going to the back brake. So that's probably what the problem's been. But it's funny, it never leaked before until we started actually doing the pedal. So should be simple. Got some tools. I should just be able to tighten that back up, and we should be good to go. All right, so our little leak that we had, I tried tightening it up. It wasn't fixing it, and so I took it apart, and actually it was the fitting that goes into our 10 PSI residual valve. It looks like the fitting, like if you look at that circle, see how it's oblonged? So this was causing an issue where it wouldn't seal. So, because I even tried to cut off my original flare, my inverted flare, and I made a new flare just to see. It still didn't help. So I just had to go to the parts store. Luckily, they have these in stock. I grabbed a couple just to be safe. And I just put the new one on, and it looks like it is all fixed. So yeah, basically this part right here, this upper portion, all right, yeah, that was what was leaking. So I just pressed the brake pedal a bunch of times. Looks like it's all fixed. So I just got to zip tie this back into place, but I'm going to wait. So now we're going to repeat the process of, I think we're just going to manually bleed these things. I'm not even going to mess with that vacuum thing, just because the way this car is, it was, you know, easy enough for my wife to just sit in there and just keep pumping the brakes, and seemed like that was working fine. So now this is a, you know, a tandem or dual master cylinder. So the front should be fine because it's a separate unit from the rear. So those I probably will manual bleed also just to make sure. And hopefully this thing will be done. And that might be about it for today. We'll see how much more we can get if we can do like the trans fluid and oil and all that stuff. But at least the freaking brakes will be done. So let's keep on rocking. Let's see if we can get this thing completed. All right, so we finally have our brakes completed. We got them completely bled out. We just did it the old school way. I didn't even try it again with the vacuum bleeder. Honestly, I'm feeling like these vacuum bleeders are hyped up way more than they need to be, because doing it the old school way, like, you know, 2 or 3 pumps, bleed it, crack it loose, and do that, you know, whatever, 10 times for each thing. I mean, it was pretty easy. Like, my wife did it. Like, she pushed it down. She wasn't even like tired. Like, I don't know. I think doing the vacuum bleeding way harder. I mean, I didn't try it again once I actually fixed the line, so maybe it is easier. I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, whatever. We did it. It's good. No more leaks. So what I did now is I just kind of put the PCM, you know, back where it needs to go. Let me show you. So I basically just got the PCM back where it needs to go. I had to plug in one connector. Then I wanted to start the car, make sure it still starts. So I did fire it up. Hasn't been started in a couple weeks. So boom, started right up, everything's cool. That seems good. The brake pedal still seems good even after starting, which it should, because it's not like a power booster, you know, so there's no weird stuff like that. So I also noticed the valve covers on both sides are kind of have some seepage, leaking action going on. So I tightened both sides, and surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly in this car, I mean, they were like hand tight, like, you know, one of them was literally like there was no torque on it. So I tightened those, you know, didn't put a lot of torque on them, but you just want to tighten them a little bit, let those gaskets, what's left of those gaskets, sit down. Over winter time, this engine's pretty tired. You can tell it's old, it's got miles on it and stuff. Over the winter, I'll probably pull this whole engine and trans out. Maybe we'll swap it to a stick. But at that time, you know, once that trans is apart, we'll kind of pull this thing apart. We'll do a lot of stuff like the EGR delete, the coolant delete through the throttle body. A lot of weird stuff that I would have done before I ever put this into a car. But, you know, we want to do a cam change. I want to clean all this up, just make it look a lot better. So that's all going to be happening over the winter time. All right, guys, that's going to be it for this one. I'm going to end it right here, and we'll catch you guys probably starting tomorrow. I'll be taking off the transmission oil pan, changing out the filter, and changing the oil, and then hopefully getting the suspension, just the top bolts for those shocks put back on, and the export brace. And then come Sunday night, hopefully we'll be able to drive this thing.